Today on the Tiger Football Report, we'll review the Tigers game against the University of Delaware. Get ready, Tiger fans. The Tiger Football Report starts now.
For an athlete, there's nothing scarier than a torn ACL.
Athletes trust us with their care and their careers because we're a recognized leader in sports medicine.
Get back to your active life sooner with MedStar Sports Medicine.
Wise Market's ice cream plant is based in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, and is locally owned and operated. We've been making our ice cream for nearly 50 years. We create roughly 70 flavors of ice cream right now. We use local ingredients, especially our cream, which is from our milk plant. The cream is what gives our ice cream a rich and creamy texture. Now, together with our customers, we've created a product called Peanut Butter Indulgence, which will be coming out this summer. It's a peanut butter ice cream with sea salt caramel swirl and chocolate-covered pretzel. How could you go wrong with that? Personally, I love our ice cream. If you come to our house at any given time, you'll find at least 5 packets of ice cream in our freezer. Our kids grew up eating Wise quality ice cream, and now we get to treat our grandchildren to it. It's been a pleasure for me to be tasting ice cream for over 40 years for Wise Markets, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Hello and welcome to the Tiger Football Report. I'm your host, Spiro Morekas. The Tigers hit the road for Newark, Delaware this past Saturday to take on the Blue Hens. It was homecoming for Delaware, and they came up with a 20-6 victory. Let's take a look at the highlights.
Ellis dropping back. Has all day, fires across the middle, intercepted at the 15-yard line to the 20, 25, 30, and all the way up to the 42-yard line. Angle it in, out of the hold of Pat Toomey. Tigers looking to get on the board first. Kick is up, and it is good. Walker
double pass.
Throws it. They're going to go for 2, and they have a guy wide open, and the pass is caught. Touchdown. They threw the backward pass to Deontay Cherry, and he threw it to Randolph for the touchdown in the right corner of the end zone. 16, Walker runs up under center, turns, wants to throw, looking, now he's going to take off and run, has room, 15 to the 10. Hit, fumbled the football, and I think the Tigers have it.
We got it.
So Walker fumbles, back out of the shotgun. He stands midway through the end zone, back to throw. Looking, firing for the near side for Dessenberg, intercepted at the 30. Nasir Adderley picks it off. All right, so Rago now again lines up to try a 30-yard field goal from the right hash mark. Snap is down, kick is up. It's long enough, and it is good. Aiden, 7 of 12 this year. Make it 8 of 13. Snap is down, kick is up. Long enough and good. Give to Jefferson up the middle, 35, 30, 25, breaks it to the outside, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown.
For the Tigers on defense, they were led by Monty Fenner. He had 11 tackles. As always, I'm joined by the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose. And Coach, Monty had a great game. Keon Pay had a really good game. The problem is you don't want your safeties being your leading tacklers.
No, not necessarily, but against a run team where we're going to have to use everybody to stop the run. That it's going to take 11 to knock those guys down. They got good backs. They got great offensive linemen. And I was pleased with what the kids, for about 3.5 quarters, they played lights out against that tough run team.
What was it in the fourth quarter that changed, that all of a sudden Delaware came up with the big play running the football?
It's probably a combination of things. I think we were starting to wear down a little bit. The number of plays, it's like 75 to 58 or something like that, offensive plays to defensive plays. So they were out on the field a little bit longer than usual, and with that time possession being heavier in Delaware's favor. So that's one. And two, I think that the fact that we couldn't stick it in offensively then started to wear on.
You also had some injuries on the defensive line. Clifton Jones got injured in the game. He never returned. And I think Upshur was
beat up going into the game.
Was beat up coming into the game. So
we were playing everybody we could play.
Yeah. All right, on the offensive side, you decide to make a change during the course of the game, taking Ellis out and bringing in Heath Dahlgren. Heath last year, spur of the moment, gets thrown in against Rhode Island, does a great job and leads you to a victory that last game of the year. That's really the only time he's ever played. Now all of a sudden he's thrown into the game against Delaware. Was that something that you had been thinking about, or is that something that just Ellis doesn't have it today, let's make a change?
That's somewhat commonsensical and somewhat out of necessity. That the chances of winning ball games keep getting diminished with the number of turnovers. And Ellis has done some really, really good things this year with the ball in his hands, but he has a propensity to turn the ball over, and it's negatively affected our ability to win. So earlier in the week, I said, we're all going to practice like starters. We're all going to get some reps with the ones, and I'm going to evaluate practice, and best guy wins. But everybody's got to be prepared to be the starter. And they did a great job in practice. They really did. And the staff knew that if we turned the ball over twice again, that we were going to have to make a change out of necessity. And it's not that I wanted to do that. I don't want to steal a young man's confidence, but got to give us a chance to win. And Heath's the next guy up.
What did you think of Heath's performance getting thrown in there?
Hot and cold. He did some good stuff. He did some dumb stuff, and you could see part of the issues when he got in there. I think we had 3 penalties in the first 3 plays, just from organizational management stuff. These kids work hard. They really do. But in the end, they earn their spot where they are on the depth chart. It's not like we ever play favorites. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to win. So best guy plays. And Ellis had clearly won the job over Heath. Morgan is the starter, but we're still without him. So in the situation that we're in, we're taking the next best guy at that spot. It's giving us a chance to win. That's where we are.
One thing that Delaware was able to do that really nobody else has been able to do to you guys this year is stop the rushing game, because even when Darius got hurt, Shane Simpson and Deshaun Wethington had both been having big days. Neither one was able to really do much of anything on Saturday against the Blue Hens.
If you go back the last 2 years, their defensive front is very big. It's very strong, and it's as a staff when we talk about it, it's one of the best in the league. And they're really good against the run. You go back to last year when we beat them, we threw it to win and played good defense, and ended up shutting them out. But and we knew we were going to probably have to throw it more than we were going to have to run it. When you're playing with I don't care how talented these guys are, they don't have the experience. And a redshirt freshman and a true freshman running back are not the same as a guy who's been to war over and over again against great competition. And they both learned a lot in the game. You could tell from when we watched film and how they evaluated themselves, but they're still behind the 8 ball a little bit, and we're not doing enough up front to help them out.
You've made changes in the offensive line throughout the year. Is it due to injuries? Is it due to guys maybe stepping up in practice? What has been the reason for not having a set 5 guys all year long?
Injury. Basically, it is straight injury. Sean Flaherty was the projected starter at center, but because of his knees, he's never really found his way into that role. And he did get in some to play guard, but that's not his home position. And Fred Zanarelli took the starting job, but when the only reason he's come out is because he's been injured. And our injuries haven't been monstrous like they were in years past, but they're annoying in the continuity of everything. Like Amos Campbell, he didn't travel with the team this week. I can't give away medical information, but it was something that you wouldn't believe. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it'll go in the book that says you can't make this stuff up. But I think those kids have done a decent job trying to gel together considering the circumstances. You're never going to be able to play a season where nobody gets hurt, and if you do, it's going to be a very, very special season. And the rest of the time, you're just managing.
And a couple of years ago, you had one of those seasons where you didn't really suffer too many injuries, and you ended up playing in Frisco, Texas. During the game, Antonio Harris gets hurt. Doesn't come back. I mean, there's another one where that group's got to be really unified. And when you throw someone in at the last second like that, it throws everything off.
We find a way. We find a way to manage. We find a way to kind of manufacture runs, but you don't have that aggressiveness that comes with 5 guys that know how to work together all the time. And right now, without Darius, that's really what we're missing, that aggressive attitude in the combination of the running backs, the fullbacks, and the offensive line. And we're going to try to find a way to get that back.
The other thing that's happened over the last couple of weeks, you've now gone 2 full football games without scoring a touchdown. Does that weigh on players' minds, do you think? Do you think they think about that, man, we haven't scored in a while, and maybe nerves come in or they start pressing?
I think that, of course, it weighs on a player's mind. All of us that have ever played the game are deeply invested in whatever it is that we're doing. But I can tell you it doesn't weigh on their mind as much as it does a coach, as this is what these guys do for a living. These guys, when they're done football, they're done practice, they're on their phones. They're Instagramming and FaceTiming and tweeting people and checking out what happened while they were at practice, while the coaches go back upstairs and they figure out how are we going to get whatever this was a little bit better tomorrow. So it's a rough combination all the way around. You could see in some circumstances, if it was a lesser group of guys, that the bottom would fall out, that they wouldn't be competing for these things. And their competition level is still high. We're still fighting the fight every day, trying to get better, learning. The fun one that I watch the young guys, and the young guys are watching, they're learning, they're growing, and they're hungry. That's fun.
One thing you've got to say, I mean, this team is 1-7, but you haven't been blown out of a football game yet, including South Florida early in week 1 against the FBS school on your schedule. So that's one thing. The kids have not quit.
No, of course there's not. That's not even a conversation anymore in this program. That's not the way the kids are. It's not the way the kids are built, recruited, or live. That we know that there's a name on the front of the jersey, and that we're going to do our damnedest to represent it as well as we can every single day of the year, not just on game day. But we're football players, so everywhere we go, they know who we are. Everyone knows who we are, and we try to make sure that we do our best to represent the name of the school and the people that went here and go here. To our best of ability every day.
Thank you, Coach. Today's episode of that's it for today's episode of the Tiger Football Report. Join us next time when we preview the Tigers' upcoming game against the Phoenix of Elon. For head coach Rob Ambrose, I'm Spiro Morekas, and as always, go Tigers.